time has expired. She has yielded back. The gentleman from Texas, Mr. Fallon, you are now recognized for your statement and question.
Madam Chair, thank you. And you can certainly say the great state of Texas anytime you like. So, interesting to hear some earlier rants and lectures about this. But again, I always like to look at kind of some statistics and share with our colleagues and friends. The federal, and I hope I'm getting all this right, but we have to trust some of the folks that we called for this research, that federal employees, all the federal employees are entitled to a pension once they are vested. Private sector, according to the National Compensation Survey done by the Bureau of Labor, 12% of private sector employees get a pension. The paid sick leave in the private sector averages 7 days a year, and the federal employees average 13. Vacation is a little harder to quantify as far as average, but it looks like about 14 days with private sector and 20 days with the federal employees. Paid holidays, private sector it's 8, and federal employees it's now 11. So some other things to consider. And sick leave, from what we were told, that 13 days can be carried over to the next year and continue indefinitely. So after, say, 10 years, it's conceivable that a federal employee could have banked 130 sick days. And vacation, they can only carry over 240 hours, which is about 30 days. And they're getting, once they're established, and I'm talking about an employee that's been around for, say, 7 years or plus, gets 20 days leave. So, but that would be a usual lose if they're banking and bringing over the 30. So in a given year, you could have an employee, a federal employee, have about 180 days. Now, I don't know, and I suspect that they could use sick leave for maternity leave. And if they cannot, I would certainly support letting them use that 12 weeks to cash in, because this is about saving. I mean, we can't live day to day, and we need to save money as best we can for that rainy day. That's what I was taught growing up when my parents are retired school teachers. My father retired after 25, 30 years service with all of making $38,000 a year, but we saved for those rainy days. And then you have to look at the cost of this, and it's hard to quantify because there's no CVO estimate, and nobody sought to ask the OPM. So there's been no due diligence on this, and it's a dereliction of duty to vote on this, form an opinion when we don't even know the cost. That's what we're the caretakers of the taxpayer dollars, and federal employees work for the taxpayers. I really, unfortunately, feel that this is a cover for a socialistic policy. And if 12 weeks is great, yeah, I mean, I owned a business, and I had an employee that had cancer, and she was a loyal employee, and I told her job, but I was in that position, her job was to get better. And for 2 years I paid her, but that was the decision that we made. And it wasn't forced or compelled upon us by anyone. And that's the difference between the private sector and the public sector, and particularly federal employees. And then I've heard for hours now the fact that, apparently Americans are helpless, and there's no such thing as personal responsibility. And there's certain decisions that you need to make. I started out in the Air Force making $18,500 a year, and I had certain decisions. I didn't want to get married, and I didn't want to have children making $18,500 a year. I was responsible enough to know that wasn't going to be a good outcome. And we have to trust the American people. Government is not God, and government's and it's not a parent. It's a bad parent. And with that, Madam Chair, from the great state of Texas, Pat Fallon yields back. Thank you.
Thank you.